What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show. The best place for everything fantasy football. Every episode gets you one step closer to the goal of winning your fantasy football championship. From rankings, breakouts, sleepers, best ball drafts, DFS plays. If winning is your objective, this is the place to be. Let's piece the puzzle together and get you that trophy. Here's your host, SleezBall, right here on My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Welcome into episode 20. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode, we are going to be going over the quarterbacks that I like to target at each value to help you win your championships this year, no matter what your draft strategy is. So if you like running backs early, hero running back, zero running back, wide receiver, heavy early start, whatever it is, these are the quarterbacks that I like to draft in each round to help you at value, to help your draft strategy work to maximize the best potential for your team. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them down below. I try to get to all the questions as fast as I can. Anything fantasy football related, I will answer it. And as always, guys, smash that like and subscribe. All the support's appreciated. I put a lot of work into this to help you guys win. And let's dive into it here. So to start it off here, I'm going to go with my number one quarterback that I'm all in on Anthony Richardson this year. Now, obviously, you're not going to take him in round one, so this is a hypothetical. If I had to take a quarterback in round one, it would be Anthony Richardson, and here's why. So last season, he finished quarterback 40. He only played 2 games on the year, 577 passing yards, 3 TDs, 1 pick. But here's what you have to look at. 136 rushing yards in 2 games and 4 touchdowns. If you average out his 22 and a half games to that he plays 17 games healthy, right? There is no way that this man is not going to be QB1. Now they add Adonai Mitchell. They have Jonathan Taylor back healthy for the season. No holdout like last year. They have a top 3 offensive line, which is going to open up holes, create RPO nightmares with Anthony Richardson and him and Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. Josh Downs does have a little injury right now. I expect him back either week 1 or week 2. But this offense is going to be so potent. I cannot wait to see Anthony Richardson play. And yes, he is my QB1 everywhere. Heading into round 2, the QB that you're going to target here is Josh Allen. Now, most people are out on this guy because he lost Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. I am not at all. His current ADP is going at 21, so the end of round 2. Last season, he was QB1, 4,306 passing yards, 29 TDs, 18 picks, 524 rush yards with 15 rushing touchdowns. That is what you want in fantasy football. We know that James Cook didn't get a lot of goal line work last year. They brought in Ray Davis. I think James Cook numbers will still go up this year at the goal line, but Josh Allen is still going to run in a ton. And if anyone is willing to put a team on their back, this is the man to do it. They do add Curtis Samuel, who has connection with Joe Brady from back in his Panthers days. They did bring in Keon Coleman in the draft. Khalil Shakir is one of my kind of late breakout candidates, and Dalton Kincaid in the second year in the system is about to go bananas. I absolutely love targeting Josh Allen late in your second round. The QB you're going to want to target in your third round is none other than Jalen Hurts, currently going off the board at ADP 30. So right about the middle of the third round, some people jump early. I'm okay with that. Finished last year as QB2, 3,858 yards, 23 passing TDs. I expect that number to go up this year, especially with the Kellen Moore fast-paced offense coming from Dallas to the new OC. He averages a top 5 paced offense. This is going to be looking like a whole new offense, especially with Saquon Barkley in the backfield. He also had 15 picks, but here we go again. What you like with your quarterbacks. 605 rushing yards and 15 tush-push TDs. Now, I do expect the tush-push to draw back a little bit this year. They lose Jason Kelce, the center, to retirement, and they haven't had a running back in the past 3 years ever of the size of a statue goal line back like Saquon Barkley. They've had Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell, DeAndre Swift, no big guys. So that's why the tush push was really used a lot more. I think you'll see a lot more Saquon, but I expect his passing yards to go up way more this season. Heading into round 4, and man, I am so bullish on this pick this season. It is Patrick Mahomes. Currently going off the board right at the start of the 4th round, ADP 37. Finished last year QB8, 4,183 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, 14 picks, 389 rush yards. So he does run more than like other QBs when you compare him. Not as much, but he still does. Didn't find the end zone last year. But here's the thing from last year. The Chiefs had the most drops in, God, I don't know how long as their wide receiver core. So now they bring in Marquise Hollywood Brown. We know he has an injury with the shoulder SC joint. He might be out 4 weeks. We don't know if he's going to come back week 2, week 3. How much he'll be ramped up, we don't know. Still have Rashee Rice, who avoided suspension, and they draft the speedster and Xavier Worthy, who I'm also drafting super high right now because of the injury to Hollywood Brown. And you still have the GOAT, Travis Kelce. This man is going to pass for 5,000 yards this season, possibly 35 to 40 touchdowns, and he's not being drafted like it. It is absolutely insane. Go get this man in the 4th round. Heading into round 4, it is going to be the rookie phenom CJ Stroud, currently going off the board at ADP 50. Finished QB 11 last year, missed 2 games, would have been a top 10 QB as a rookie. 4,108 yards, 23 passing TDs, 5 interceptions. He doesn't get a lot of groundwork, but he found the end zone 3 times, so that's nice. He had 167 yards on the ground. Now, last season, Tank Dell gets hurt, right? Nico Collins thrives. Now they have Tank Dell back, who looks amazing already in camp. First preseason game, explodes for a bomb touchdown, and they bring in a top 10 wide receiver in Stephon Diggs to go along with Dalton Schultz, and they bring in Joe Mixon. This offense is going to be damn near unstoppable. If he can stay healthy this season and say he doesn't miss those 2 games, this is a top 5 quarterback 100%. He might throw for 5,000 yards this season. I love CJ Stroud at all costs every single time in the 5th round. I'm even willing to move up to the 4th round sometimes for him. Heading into round 6, it is Smoking Joe Slim Shady Burrow. Coming off the board at ADP 63, QB 25 last year. He did deal with injuries, which is also scary heading into this year. I don't want to see a back-to-back year of him getting hurt and start to think there's an injury clause with him. Threw for 2,309 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks, 88 yards on the ground. Now, they bring in weapons. So they lose Joe Mixon. They bring in Zach Moss. They get T. Higgins back. Then they go and draft the deep ball threat in Jermaine Burton, who you just saw dominate the preseason game. Joe Burrow now is back healthy in camp right now, just balled out today. Everyone's all hyped up on him again. And you're going to have Eric All. They also bring in Mike Gesicki. They're going to be battling for the tight end spot. This offense is going to be very, very, very potent. And it is going to be one of those teams that the Chiefs, to me, are the alpha right now. But the one that can always knock them off is the Bengals. It just comes down to Joe Burrow staying healthy. Heading into round 7, the quarterback you want to target, and this one makes absolutely no sense to me, is Jordan Love, currently going off the board at ADP 73. Finished last season as QB5, 4,159 yards, 32 pass touchdowns, 11 picks, 247 yards on the ground. Not too bad on the ground, but 5 touchdowns on the ground. Gotta love that. And last season, Christian Watson was out for a little bit. Romeo Doubs was out for a little bit. Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, they were all injured last year. This man was QB5, and yet he's still going off the board in the 7th round. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now you have, quote-unquote, Christian Watson's hammy back healthy. He's a little nerve-wracking for me still. Dontavian Wicks is here, due for a breakout, as you just saw in the preseason game. I've been tweeting about him nonstop. And you have the gadget player, Jaden Reed. And you're going to have Romeo Doubs. This is 4 good wide receivers. This man could pass for 5,000 yards. And I don't understand why he's being drafted so late. This is the best quarterback to build your roster around 100% to win a championship. In round 8, the quarterback you want to target, just like Jordan Love, doesn't make any sense to me how Brock Purdy is here on the board at ADP 99. Last season finished as QB6, 4,280 passing yards, 31 passing TDs, 11 picks, 144 yards on the ground, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Now, you have to remember that this guy was coming off a torn UCL major surgery, came back early into the season. Everyone was worried, still finished as QB6, and they said he was rehabbing this until November into the season last year. Now, we don't know the Brandon Ayuk situation yet, but every other weapon is there. And say Ayuk is gone, Ricky Pearsall is not the same. But it looks like Ayuk is going to stay. And how can this guy be going in the 9th round if you have Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, CMC, Purcell, one of the best offensive lines? It doesn't make any sense. Just like Jordan Love, if you wait till the 8th round to get him, this is one of the best values at QB you can get to help win yourself a championship this year. in round 9, and man, oh man, his ADP is going to be rising after that preseason first drive performance. Jaden Daniels looked electric. So currently going off the board at ADP 107. I expect this number to rise. Obviously, he doesn't have an overall finish because he was in college last year. So these are his college stats. 3,812 yards, 40 passing TDs to 4 interceptions. Look at that number right there. 1,134 yards on the ground with 10 touchdowns. And what does he do on his first preseason drive? He rushes in a touchdown. The offensive line is going to be scary. I like what I saw from Luke McCaffrey in the preseason game. He might take the slot role. Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, and Ben Sinnott looked like an absolute freak. They bring in Austin Eckler to tandem with Brian Robinson. Like I said, the one worrisome thing I have here is the offensive line, which ranks 27th according to Pro Football Focus. But guess what? You have the legs of Jaden Daniels to create plays and make that offensive line look better than this. And this is a smash league-winning value pick to me 100% in this round. Getting Justin Herbert in the 10th round at ADP 118 in round 10 is absolutely bonkers to me. So I know he's down this low because people think that Keenan Allen and Mike Williams is gone. Mike Williams has never been healthy in his entire career, so he's not really gone to me when people say that. But finished last year as QB 17, 3,134 yards, 20 passing touchdowns, 7 picks, 228 yards on the ground, and 3 touchdowns. He does a lot of groundwork, too. He also was injured last year. And I'm hoping this isn't a trend because right now in preseason, he hurts his foot again, and he's supposed to be back for week 1. But I'm hoping there's no trend here. But now they bring in Ladd McConkey to fill the role of Keenan Allen. They have Quentin Johnston and DJ Shark fighting for the other outside. I don't like either one of those two. I like Josh Palmer more with the connection he has. And quote, unquote, J.K. Dobbins is back healthy, running with the ones and looks better than Gus Edwards. This offense will not be as much Harbaugh ground and pound as people think. You have to be winning games to run the ground and pound. You're going to see a lot more air attack here. He just has to get his health under control, and this is an absolute amazing value. Round 11, the QB you're going to want to target for a big bounce-back season, in my opinion, is Trevor Lawrence. Currently going on the board at ADP 122. Still finished last year as QB 13, and he was hampered by an ankle injury all year. 4,600 passing yards, 21 pass TDs, 14 picks. Still got 339 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns. So they lose Calvin Ridley. They bring in the big boy, Brian Thomas Jr., who electrifies the preseason game with a bomb catch, bodies him up. I love him so much to be their red zone target this year. Get Christian Kirk back healthy, who was also hurt last year, which brought his numbers down for Trevor Lawrence. They got ETN. They got Tank Bigsby looking good as the backup running back in the backfield. They bring in Gabe Davis. I don't know how much I'm really on the Gabe Davis side. I liked what I saw from Parker Washington more than him. But the main focal point piece is going to be Evan Ingram, who was tight end 2 last year. He's going to explode. This offense is going to look way better than last year, purely because he was hurt. And the fact that you can get him in this round is crazy. This is another great late round pick to me at quarterback. Round 12 is the scariest of them all, but I'm calling it right now. He's one of my dark horse MVP candidates, and Aaron Rodgers. Currently going off the board at ADP 137. You're going to see his quarterback finish, passing yards, passing TDs, interceptions, rushing yards, all that be 0. Why? Because he was gone in 60 seconds with an Achilles injury last year. I know he's 40 years old. We don't have a lot of data at all on quarterbacks coming off Achilles at all. And then we get Kirk Cousins and him both to have one. But if there's anyone that can do it, it is Aaron Rodgers. He's going to have Breece Hall. He's going to have a top 3 offensive line, a top 3 defense. He's going to have Garrett Wilson out there, Mike Williams as well. He handpicks Malachi Corley in the draft because he likes this guy a lot to go along with Tyler Conklin. The advantages that the defense is going to give this offense is going to be nuts. They're going to see so many opportunities with the ball. All he has to do is stay healthy, and this number is crazy. He can finish as a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. Round 13, here it is. One of my biggest league winners to draft this year is Deshaun Watson, ADP 155. Just got cleared for full contact today as I'm posting this video. Finished last season QB 35, 1,115 yards, 7 TDs, 4 picks. Still had 142 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground, and he was hurt all year. Now you get him back healthy. The only thing you have to worry about with Deshaun Watson is, does he have the drive to play football? And all the reports look like it is. And why would you not want a guy in this round that could average 20 points a game, which he did last year when he started? They bring in Jerry Jeudy to go along with Amari Cooper at wide receiver. They're going to have Elijah Moore. They're going to have Cedric Tillman battling for the 3 spot. You have David Njoku, who broke out last year. Nick Chubb is probably out 6 to 8 weeks. You got Jerome Ford, Deonta Foreman to close that hole for that time. And you're going to have a top 3 offensive line with the number 1 ranked defense to get them the ball back. Just like I said with Aaron Rodgers, the opportunities are going to be massive. And if he decides to play football again, like his Texan days, this is one of my major league winners at quarterback this year. Round 14 is going to be Geno Smith, currently going off the board, ADP 171. He was QB 19 last year, 3,624 yards, 20 passing touchdowns, 9 picks, 155 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. You're not going to see much groundwork from him this year. Probably he's older. But the problem last year wasn't Geno Smith. It was the coaching. You lost Dave Canales. Now they're bringing in a new OC from Washington, Ben Grubb, who is going to bring an electrifying, fast-paced offense that everyone wants to see. You have DK Metcalf, who's going to absolutely go bonkers this year. They're going to use him in a Cooper Kupp style all over the field, running motion everywhere. Jay Season, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, who everyone is high on for a breakout. I am as well. You still have Tyler Lockett, Mr. Consistent, who can always take the top off the ball. Kenneth Walker to go along with Zach Charbonnet. Noah Fant hasn't been a lot over the past couple of years, but they're saying he's going to be more involved this year. That's a wait and see, but all the weapons are here. He did have a little injury scare here in the preseason with his hip. Seems to be fine. Should be back week 1. Already back practicing. And I think this is a great QB2 value to have, who can fill in a flex week anytime, or not a flex week, a bye week anytime, or injuries happen for you at quarterback this season. Round 15 is going to be Bryce Young, currently going off the board, ADP 186. Got bashed a lot last year. Again, it's probably the coaching for him, and I'll get to that in a second here. Finished QB 23, 2,877 yards, only 11 passing touchdowns and 10 picks. Still had 253 yards on the ground, never found pay dirt on the ground either. But now you bring in Dave Canales. Okay, and what does Dave Canales do? He goes out and just gets offensive weapons. Why? Because that's how his mind works, is offensively. He reincarnated Geno Smith's career, saved Baker Mayfield's career in Tampa. Then he gets a head coach job coming to Carolina. How can you not think this guy's going to make this guy improve? They get Xavier Legette in the draft. They get Jatavion Sanders in the draft. They get Jonathan Brooks in the draft. All 3 offensive pieces. And what do they do in free agency? They go and get Deontay Johnson, who's probably going to see 150 targets, to go along with old man Adam Thielen out there. This man has weapons, and he's being drafted so late. Do I feel comfortable starting him weekly? No, but if my quarterback went down, like I said with Geno Smith, I would feel great as him as my QB2 on my roster backup. And last, but definitely not least, is Justin Fields. I'm still mind blown that he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Currently going off the board at ADP 194 in round 16. Finished last year as QB 18, was injured for 4 games of the season, still had 2,562 yards, 16 pass touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 657 yards on the ground, and 4 touchdowns. Now imagine if he played a full season. He's probably a top 12 to 13 quarterback. Now you have the old man Russell Wilson out there, who's already dealing with a couple injuries to start the season. Justin Fields has looked good in camp, but then you get reports of, we're looking to see if Russ plays good and probably extend him. Man, I just want to see Justin Fields start on this offense. Look what he did with DJ Moore last year. Imagine George Pickens. Look what will happen with Pat Freiermuth. Their running game, he's going to have Najee and Jalen Warren. Arthur Smith is the OC. It will probably be a little split back work there. But I just want to see him get the opportunity, and I feel like he's going to thrive. And if there's anyone I'm willing to take a dart throw on in round 16, like especially if you have a keeper league 2 heading into next year, this is an amazing value pick in round 16 if he can get the job. That is it for episode 20, guys. I cannot believe we are 20 episodes in already. I cannot believe we are 25 days away from the NFL kickoff. It is absolutely crazy to me that we're about to be seeing the real games happen on Sunday. The preseason has been so far. But again, guys, this was my quarterbacks to draft in every round, no matter how you build your roster to draft. And the Anthony Richardson one, again, in round 1, that is just my favorite quarterback. You're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round of the draft. So just make sure, don't get crazy with that. And as always, guys, if you have any comments, questions, anything fantasy football, make sure you drop it in the bottom. And also, if my quarterback's Anthony Richardson is number 1, let me know who your quarterback 1 is. I'd love to hear it as well. And as always, guys, make sure you smash that like and subscribe. My next episode is going to be 10 players that I am bullish on, and you should be more bullish on in your drafts as well heading into this season. SleezBall out.